I said, yes, sir. He says, can I ask you a question? I said, sure. He says, I would reckon, everybody say, reckon. I would reckon you ain't from around these ports, are you? I said, no, sir, I'm not. He says, well, let me give you a word of advice. Down here in these parts, when a man says how do, all you got to do is say how do back. And I was like, how do? So I'm how doing everybody. And I get out of that store as quickly as I can. I go to the college, and I major in wildlife biology, fish and wildlife management, with a minor in zoology. And it was the most scary, incredible thing in my life, because I come back home, and I tell my dad, I said, Dad, I can't go. He says, what are you talking about? I said, sir, I said, Dad, I said, there's no black people. I'm into wildlife biology, and my uncle, I had a very negative uncle. My uncle, he's like a failed pimp. So he shows up, he says, young brother, he said, let me tell you something, man. He says, you shouldn't do that because black people don't do that. I said, Uncle, what are you talking about? He says, there's only one black man in the woods, and his name is Smokey the Bear. So, I was like, get away from me, So you got to be very careful who you listen to. So the truth, I could not, I couldn't make it up if I wanted to. So my brother, Victor, he pulls me to the side. My brother says, he says, look, Mark, he says, let me tell you something. He says, sometime in life, in order for you to go where you want to go, sometimes you have to go where you've never been. And he made me go to college. 9th grade education, 22 years of age, scared to death. No money, just a little beat-up Pinto, packed up with clothes and everything that I own. I went down to a small college called Hocking College in a small country town called Nelsonville, Ohio, and I majored in fish and wildlife management with a minor in zoology. And somehow, because of what you've been able to instill in me and kids like me, I became very resilient because I did not want to fail. And I became a 2-time academic All-American, and I graduated top of my class, and I became a wildlife technician. And I don't say that to brag. I say that to tell you what's possible, because the probability of me doing that is impossible. I was working at deer check-in stations. You know what they do with deer check-in stations? You identify a deer by its teeth. Anybody who hunts in here knows what I'm talking about. So I'm hunting turkey and rough grouse and and it's crazy. So I'm doing all these big wildlife management plans, and all of a sudden I run into these kids. And I said, you know what? I want to make a difference in the life of kids. And I started talking to these kids and doing volunteer work. So I had to do a practicum. So I do this practical with these foster kids. And we started loving each other and understanding each other. And all of a sudden I got this epiphany that wildlife was just the vehicle to get me to my greater purpose, and that was to make a difference in the lives of others. And my counselor said, well, Mark, you've got 1 degree. You need to go back to school. You need to study for communication. So I went to Ohio University and got a degree in organizational communication with emphasis on management, organizational management and leadership. And I started my business, and it's just kind of taken one step after the other. Then here I am. Not a pretty miraculous story, but I'm here because somebody cared. I'm here because somebody said that I could. Because, see, the perception of what it is that we do simply means that we have to watch what we focus on. Now, can anybody tell me what this is? What is it? This is a cube. So do you think that in order for us to exceed in life and excel, should we think inside the box or outside the box? Outside. But sometimes we should take the box completely away and paint our own Picasso. But in order for us to really help kids, I want you guys to focus on this first square right here, okay? Focus on that first square right there, and if you focus on it long enough, the box will shift. When the box shifts for you, I just want you to raise your hand. It will move. There it goes, there it goes, there it goes. Pop, 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 like popcorn. Boom, boom, boom. And there it continues to go. Isn't that amazing? It shifts only when I told you that it could. For our kids to be successful, sometimes in their minds something will shift. It may not happen today. It may not happen tomorrow. But one day, if you can get them and be patient enough with them and help them to understand what's possible, their reality in their box will shift for them. And when it shifts, it is a miraculous thing. When my thing shifted, it was an awakening for me. It was incredible. And the thing about it is that when we look at this, we understand that sometimes is what we say, the words we use. So please be very quiet. Don't talk to your neighbor. I want you to count the number of F's you see. There's only a couple up there. Quickly, count the number of F's you see, but do not talk to your neighbor or say anything. You've got about 5 seconds. Please count the number of F's you see. There's only a couple. Okay. If you only saw 2 F's, raise your hand. Okay, guy only saw 2. If you only saw 3 F's, raise your hand. So we have 2, we have 3. If you only saw 4 Fs, raise your hand. 2, 3, and 4. Something is very awry here. If you only saw 5 Fs, raise your hand. So we saw 2, 3, 4, now 5. How many people saw 6? Okay, so now we have 2. Was there an open bar back there? I mean, I don't understand. What the heck? Wait a minute. Okay, so 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Anybody see 7 or more? Okay, so we saw 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. That is absolutely impossible. The question is, who's right? Who? 3? Would you be willing to stand up on that, ma'am? Jessica? I mean, are you confident? This is all make-believe. Stand up, Jessica. Jessica is standing on 3. Anybody else? What is it? 3. 3. Okay, fantastic. Now, make-believe. How many did you see? Okay, here it is. So, 3 stand up. Now, how many did you see? Stand up. Okay, Lydia says she saw 7. Now, who is correct? Are you right? Okay, Lydia, are you right? Okay, well, really, and technically, all of us are right. No, stand up. Don't sit down. Oh, no. No, sir. No, sir. Now, the thing about it is, we're all right, but there's only one true answer. Who wants the true answer? All right, everybody give me a drum roll, please. Give me a drum roll. Fantastic. The answer is 7. Here it is. I know some of you guys look so deflated now, like, oh, my God. Okay. You guys want to see it? Here it is. Check it out. There's 1. Here's 2. Here's 3. Here's 4. There's 5. There's 6. There's 7. Evidence-based data, baby. I can come in here and talk about perception all I want, but until you experience it, it doesn't matter. Now, the thing about it is, many people say, well, Mark, how does that happen? Well, it's all about conditioning. Huh? You guys remember Pavlov's dog? You know, you give the dog the meat, it salivates, okay, same thing here. And the thing about it is, what happens is, it is this small, insignificant word of. It is not because that we've seen of, it's because of how we heard it. Because of, of, over and over and over again. So much that we have what is called a mental blind spot, which is a satoma. Even though it's there physically, we cannot see it consciously. They didn't see the greatness in Lydia. They didn't see the resiliency in me until they truly understood who we were and helped us to see it in ourselves. Because in our life, our whole job is to deliver. FedEx, it delivers. Are we like FedEx? Absolutely. We have to deliver what? Greatness, resiliency, hope. Well, look at here. Here's a measuring spoon in FedEx. It's always been there, but most people never see it, and they never see the arrow in FedEx either. But there it is here, and there's a measuring spoon there. Now, thing about it is, as I start to conclude, let me do this. Some of you are still unbelievers. So I'm going to do an exercise. Please be quiet. Here's the exercise. I'm going to ask you guys a question. And after I ask the question, I want you to repeat the answer in unison. So if I say what comes after 2, everybody would say? 3. Fantastic. What color is this cloth? What color is it? Louder. 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 Now, in unison, what do cows drink? Doctor, am I too serious here? Is it me? Listen, cows don't drink milk, man. They don't. Now, I did see an alligator drinking a bottle of milk as I came across. No. Now, here's the thing. Listen, it is because of what we focus on. If we focus on foster care, we focus on the words that people say and all the negativity, that becomes our reality, be it positive or negative. So let me conclude with this, because I think I went over time a little bit. But are we good? Do we have 2 more minutes? Okay. Life is all about giving back. And as I began to get more success in what it is that I did with my life, I wanted to find my teacher and thank her, so I found Miss Ritchie. And now she is 87 years of age, and I went to find her. And it was the funny thing because I looked for her for like 6 months and couldn't find her. So I remember I finally got her number, and I called her. And the phone rang, and her husband picks up the phone, and he says, hello. I said, hey, my name is Mark Anthony. I'm looking for Betty Jean Ritchie. Is this her residence? He says, yes. Who is this? Well, I'm just an old student. He starts laughing. I says, look, can you put her on the phone? I want to surprise her. So Miss Ritchie comes up. She gets on the phone, and she's like, who is it? And he's like, I don't know, some guy's selling something. Get on the phone. So she gets on the phone, and she says, hello. And my heart is beating. And she says, hello. I said, Betty Jean Ritchie, class of 1977, Kitty Hawk. And before I could finish, she says, Mark Anthony Garrett. How you doing, son? How you doing? And it was the most spiritual moment in my life, and I just stood there, and I couldn't say anything. And all of a sudden, I said, Miss Ritchie, I said, yeah. I said, it's me. I says, but it's been so long, how did you know? And she says, Mark, I have caller ID. So, after, yeah. So, yeah. So, after my embarrassment, we got the time to go see her, and then we set it up. And I went to her house, and this is what happened. Joseph, come here. I met this young man yesterday. Never met him in my life, don't know who he is, but there was something special about him. And the thing about it is when I met him, I looked into his eyes and I saw me. The young lady that was with him stand up. Don't know if this is a girlfriend or whatever. I have no idea. But I know that she says, I'm here to support him. So when I found Miss Ritchie, I went in and we talked for hours and we cried and we had a great time. And when I left, she asked me one question. She says, will you fight for them? I said, fight for who, Miss Ritchie? She said, will you fight for every kid who can't fight for themselves? I said, yes, ma'am. She says, will you give them everything you can to help change their life? And will you be a mentor to them? And will you inspire them? I said, yes, ma'am. And, yeah, changed my life. Where's Forrest? Okay, Devin, come up. Devin is a fellow. He's a powerful young man. These are two powerful young men who came through the foster care system. See, I don't just talk about this. I believe in what I do. These young men don't know this, but I am going to, if they allow me, I'm going to mentor them. I'm going to become their friend. I'm going to guide them. I'm going to teach them everything that I know about life, about purpose, about validation. I'm going to watch them go through college. I'm going to watch them become fathers. I'm going to watch them become upstanding young men for America. And if they will allow me, I will guide them and give them everything that I know. And I'm going to document it. And I'm going to put these boys in a documentary. I'm going to show the world that what's possible when we truly care for our foster youth and when we truly care about the fabric of America, because these are the reasons why we do what we do. And I want to commend you for your diligence, young man. I want to commend you for your passion. I want to thank you for choosing to win. I want to thank you for being a leader. And if you will allow me, I will make a declaration in front of everyone that I will mentor these young boys. Why? Because I care and because I love them. So would you allow me to do that? Okay. Would you allow me to do that? Fantastic. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want everybody to stand up. And I'm going to end like this. You don't have to applaud for me because I'm still standing. But these young men whose hands that I'm going to raise, this is why we do what we do. We're here for a greater purpose and a greater bond, and when we bond together, there's nothing that can break it. I will not let them fail. I will not let them fall through the cracks because they have purpose and significance. And through me, I see them, and through them, I see me. And I believe in them, and I love them, and I have their back. They will not fail because I will not let them fail. This is why we do what we do. I am giving them what they need. So, what we're going to do, we're going to imagine that these two young men have won American Idol. And on the count of three, we're going to end by giving them the biggest round of applause they probably ever had in their life. 1, 2, 3. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless you. That is my time. That's it.